Welcome back to Guna's tutorial. We are happy that we organized a 4-day national level webinar on IoT applications and machine learning during 21st to 24th of June 2020. I am here with sharing the webinar series for your reference. Today's topic is Overview of Blockchain. The resource person is Mr. Vivekanand, Assistant Professor, Computer Science and Engineering, Galkotias University, Uttar Pradesh.
Now I request Dr. A. Krishna Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of MCA, to welcome our resource person, Dr. Krishna Kumar.
Good morning all. Mr. M. Vivek Anand is a PhD research scholar in Galkotias University, UP. He received his ME in Software Engineering from Anna University, Chennai in the year of 2013. BE in CSE from Anna University, Coimbatore. He has more than 6 years of teaching and research experience. His current research domain includes blockchain with IoT and so on. I welcome such an eminent researcher as a research person for this national level webinar on IoT applications and machine learning. Once again, I welcome everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for giving this opportunity to present this session. So this is about, this entire presentation is about the blockchain overview. So some of you have heard about this term blockchain. So if you have not heard about this term blockchain, you must have heard about the term Bitcoins. So you know that Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It is a digital cryptocurrency. So it is the Bitcoin which is working under the concept of blockchain. So this blockchain is a disruptive technology, something like the internet came into an existence in the 1990s. So that was like a disruptive technology at that time. So after that, some of the social media came into existence. So after that, under 2008, the blockchain came into existence with the help of a person, Satoshi Nakamoto. So today agenda is we are going to see about the current banking system and then issues in third party, trusted third party, and then blockchain and its properties. So actually, and after that, what is blockchain? So why we are going for the blockchain, and what is the properties of the blockchains, and what is called cryptocurrencies. So there are many number of cryptocurrencies are available in the market. So we are going to see about the cryptocurrencies. I already told you that Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrency. That is the first cryptocurrency in the world. So that Bitcoin is working under the concept of blockchain. After that, how the blockchain is working, how it is working, and what are the types of blockchain, and the application of blockchains. And finally, we are going to see about the benefit and then unknown of the blockchain technology. Now we can see about the banking system. So how we are having our banking system in a current situation. So the thing is, if you want to do any transactions, if a person wants to send an amount, person A sends an amount to person B. So who will verify this transaction? The person in between, we have the bank. Bank is the trusted third party here to verify our transaction, whether we are having whether A has a balance greater than the transaction amount. So for example, if we have if you want to send 500 to person B, the person A wants to send an amount 500 to the person B. So the person A should have at least 500 rupees in their account. So otherwise it will not be possible to do the transactions. So who will verify this? The bank will verify that A has a balance amount that is greater than the transaction amount. So if the balance is greater than the transaction amount, what it will do? The bank will allow him to do the transaction, and it will be considered as a valid transaction. So how it will be taken? So it will be the transaction amount will be minus from the balance, and the remaining balance will be keeping in the ledger. So this is what happening in our bank. So what will happen if the balance is not greater than the transaction amount? What will happen? It will be treated as a transaction invalid. So it will be like a invalid transaction. So we cannot do the transaction without any amount, without the required amount. So we are depending upon this kind of a trusted third party for doing such a transactions. So how will you verify our transaction is done? So we can see the monthly statement. So in a monthly statement, we can verify that whether our transaction is done or not, how much we have sent to the person, and how much balance we are having. Everything we can see to this through the monthly statement, or else immediately we will receive some messages in our mobile phones and everything. Here, so all the transaction, whatever the transaction we are doing, so sending or receiving or whatever the transaction, it will be stored in a bank ledger. So bank is maintaining some kind of a ledger. So there all the details will be maintained. So how much we are withdrawing, how much we are depositing, everything will be maintained, and the bank is maintaining all the transaction in a ledger. So if the bank goes for an invalid transaction, what will you do? So invalid transaction means sometimes some of the error in the network or some of the error in the system. So if it is going for the invalid transaction, can we able to get the transaction, or else if the thing, for example, you did not do your transaction, but the bank is saying that you have done the transaction. So how will you argue this? And if your balance was not sufficient, but the transaction was done, so what will you do in this case? So can we say that whether the bank ledger is a tamper proof? Tamper means it cannot be modified. So can we tell a person in a bank is modifying the ledger? What will happen? So we are having an account in a bank. So if the person from the bank is modifying the bank ledger, so what will happen? So whether the bank ledger is a tamper proof, I mean it cannot be modified. No, the answer is no. So there is a possibilities of changing a bank ledger. So some of the bank frauds. So we are depending upon the trusted third parties like a bank. For there we are getting some problems. What are the problems? If you consider a bank, so what will happen? If you are giving a check, so that means you have never wrote a check, but it was used for someone to pay. So what will happen in this case? So what will you argue to the bank? And then you have signed a check for a X amount. So if it is getting modified by someone, so how can you assure that I have just done only this amount, not this one? How will you argue to the bank? So bank will say that you have done the changes, but in between somebody can change this. So how will you resolve these problems? So in this case, for example, if someone got your password, internet banking or something else, so he will do some malicious activities in your account. And then if a person is getting your OTP and redirecting to another SIM, and he is getting his OTP and doing the transaction, so what will happen? So, and then if the bank employee has done something for a fraud transaction, the bank employee is fraud transaction, he may help for the fraud transactions. And then some of the person are verifying the monthly statement, what all the transaction have done so far in the month. So in that case, if there is any problem, you have to report to the bank and writing some application or something else, and again they will verify that, and these all the things are there. So for example, nowadays some of the banks are getting shut down. Recently we got the message like Yes Bank is got shut down. So in this case, what will you do? So how will we get our money back? So we cannot assure that we will get we will get our entire money. So these are the problems with the current banking systems. And then whether the bank is transparent to us. So what are the ledger they are maintaining? So whether it is transparent to us, just keep as it is in their own, and if we want to get that, they will provide the details. So anyway, in some kind of a thing like if the bank server is getting hacked, so who will be the responsible for this? So if we are getting any fraud transaction, or if we are getting any malicious activities, if the relying on the particular third party, but it is not at all. So some actually most of the time bank is providing good facilities and good services, but in some cases, if the bank is getting hacked by someone, so the all the transaction has been modified or something like that. So if it is happened, who will be responsible for this? So we need to avoid the third party entirely, and we just have to do the transaction without any third party. So here, what are the third party issues? So we see only about the banking system. So some of the other third party issues also there, like a supply chain. So supply chain means it is like a manufacturing to the delivery. So from the manufacturing to delivery, what are all the process that are happening? So from the manufacturing, raw material comes from one location, and then manufacturing is done from one location, and transporting is doing by some other person, and it will be coming to the retail shop, and from the retail shop to the customer. So in this case, if the customer is getting some defect items, so how will you know that in which location it has happened? Who has done the mistake? Can we able to identify that it is from the manufacturing portion, or it is from the transporter, it is from the retailer? So who has made the defect? We cannot able to identify this in the supply chain management. So in this case, we need some transparent system. Person is giving some raw material, so that should be visible to the manufacturer. So the manufacturer, what are the methodologies they are using in the manufacturing sector, that should be visible to the transportation. So the transportation, what they are doing in the transportation, how they are accessing, how they are putting all the items in a container or whatever it is. So they have to know all the details. The retailer should know all the details about the transporter. And after that, the customer has to know all these things. Data is transparent to all. So there is no such a problem. So here, this is the problem under supply chain. So we have to avoid this through the sharing of all the data to all the person. So in which we are moving towards our blockchain. So next one is land registering authority. So if you are going for registering a land, it will be showing like who is the owner and who is the previous owner. Everything will be provided there. And in some cases, we cannot know what are the previous owners, previous owners. So we cannot able to identify that. So if the system is transparent, so if the data is sharing from one end to another end, like a land registering report transferring from one owner to another owner, there should be some shareable data. So only then everybody can see that this is happened. This land has been transferred to this owner to this owner. So if you in this land registering authority, we are depending upon only the registering office acting as a trusted third party. So we are believing on that, and we are giving all the things. Upon if the election commission, if we want to do any kind of voting, we are trusting on the election commission, third parties, but we are failing. So some cases, so most of the time they are providing a good services, and but in some of the cases we are going into a problem. So we cannot able to believe and we cannot able to believe 100% to the third parties. So for this reason, we are going for the blockchain. Actually, blockchain means it is avoiding the third party. So the blockchain is a decentralized. Decentralized means it is distributed among the world. So then peer to peer. So peer to peer means in this each and every devices is connected with other devices and able to share all the data to all the devices. That means we are getting some transparent network. So whatever the changes we have done, so if one person have done the changes, that will be reflected in all the system. So there is no central bank, centralized servers. So here anyone have done the changes, that will be visible to all the system. So this is what the blockchain. Properties of the blockchain is log of data is maintained with the digital signature. So that means if you want to do any kind of a entry in the particular system, what will happen? This entry, who have done this entry, that will be digitally signed. We have some authentication in that. Who have done this? That will be visible to all the person in a particular system. For if you want to go for the blockchain network, you will be getting some public key and then private key. So through that, everybody can understand this person have done the changes. So as one is accessing this particular system, the name will not be visible. So instead of the name, it will be showing like a public key. So that public key is having some address like 32 bits, more than 32 bits of address with some different symbols. So from that only we can understand this person have done the entry. So it will not showing this particular person like a name. It will not show in the particular system like a pseudo anonymous. So anonymous means that the providing our name to be displayed. Pseudo anonymous means that somewhat it will be we will be getting some identity, but not in our whole identity. It is like a public key. So through that public key, we can understand that this person has done. And then it is immutable. Immutable means once the transaction has been done, it will be getting entered as a transaction. So that cannot be modified. That if you take any kind of bank ledger or anything, so they can do their modification. But here in this blockchain, nobody can tamper any kind of data. So that is the properties of a blockchain. So next one is asymmetric key cryptography, and then it is having some public key and private key. So that it is having some cryptography is secure, and then it is having some hashing also, hashing technique also. So that is this blockchain is cryptographically secure without any third party. So this Bitcoin is working under the concept of blockchain. It is a digital cryptocurrency. So it is created in 2009. So you want to send any bitcoins, so you have to have some wallet in our in your system. So you can create a wallet, and then there we can through the exchanges of your own money, our current currency, and through that we can get the bitcoins. So the bitcoins is allowed in so many countries. So they are having some Bitcoin ATM also. So in Bitcoin ATMs, what we'll do, we have to have some wallet. So if you have a wallet, we are storing all the bitcoins into a wallet. So if you are inserting your money into the ATM, so that will be transferred to your Bitcoin wallet. So if you are not having any wallet, the immediately you can generate one wallet in the ATM itself. And what will happen? You can scan the QR code in the ATM. So that will be transferred to your account, Bitcoin account. It is very much huge than our normal money. So now current INR, when compared with current INR, one Bitcoin is equal to more than 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs. So we can use that Bitcoin as a normal currency for doing any kind of a shopping. 2017 only it is just getting boomed for $10,000. First Bitcoin transaction have been done through Satoshi Nakamoto to Hal Finney. So after that in 2010, so the Bitcoin market, the official cryptocurrency stock exchange is launched. After this 2011, Bitcoin reaches a parity with the US dollars. That means here in 2011, one Bitcoin is equal to one US dollar. But after that, 2012, the Bitcoin magazines is launched, the articles about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And 2013, it is reaching that 100 US dollars is equal to one Bitcoin. So based upon the availability, based upon the economy, the Bitcoin value also will be changing. So and then in 2014, Microsoft began to accept Bitcoins for the games and Windows software. So we can give the Bitcoins and then we can get the software like Windows and then Xbox games. So in 2015, Bitcoin startup 21 Increase announced had raised 116 million US dollar in venture. And then in September 2016, the number of Bitcoin ATM had doubled over the last 18 months. So Bitcoin ATM has been deployed there. And then in 2017, Bitcoin price exceeds US dollar 10,000. So the 10,000 US dollar is equal to one Bitcoin. So after that 2018, so again there is some economic problem. So if people are believing more on Bitcoins, so the rate will be getting higher. So if they are not believing on the Bitcoins, or if there is stolen of the Bitcoins, the market rate will be getting low, and the price in 2018 it is below $7,000. So this is what happened in the Bitcoin market cap. So if you want to buy any Bitcoins, you should have, I already told you that you should have a wallet, and with the help of that wallet, there are so many exchanges are available in the market, and be aware of the exchange markets. So because somebody is doing malfunction with the help of Bitcoin exchanges, they will receive your money, but they will not provide you the Bitcoins. So that kind of a thing may happen. So because a person wants to send a transaction to some other devices, some other person, what will happen? He will try to create a transaction, and it will be broadcasted to all the system network. So it is a peer-to-peer network. Whatever the changes you made, that will be visible to all the system. This network, some of the person will be taken as a miner. So these are like mobile phones. So this mobile phone will not be treated as a miners. So because it is having some less memory space, so it will not be treated as a miners. So it can be this mobile phones and all. We can create a wallet. We can have a wallet. With the help of the wallet, we can do the transaction, but we cannot verify our transaction. So in order to verify the transaction, we need a system. So in that system, the entire blockchain will be stored. So the miner will be doing the verification of the transaction. So whether the required person is having the correct amount or not, and that will be verified by the miners. And with the help of the miners, the transaction will be treated as a successful transaction, and it will be added as a block. So if you consider a single block, we have so many transactions. If you have a transaction like this, so in this you will have multiple transactions. So the miner will be taking care of this transaction, and it will be verified. After getting the verified, only it will be added into the block. So one block can have multiple transactions. So if 5 to 10 numbers wants to send the bitcoins to others, so that will be treated as a transaction. So the whole transaction will be taken, and it will be treated as a block. And in that block will be added into the previous block. So if the transaction getting valid in the block, that will be added into the blockchain. Okay, blockchain is available to all the person. So that block is added into the previous block. If it is getting verified, that will be added to the previous block. So that is called blockchain. So who will do the transaction verification means that is called miners. So what will happen? The entire transaction details from 2009 to right now, we may have some plenty of transaction that is added in a block and that is added into the blockchains. So if it is added like that, so the memory space of this particular transaction will be taken. Nowadays, it is like more than 200 GB is required to store the entire blockchain because we need to have all the data from the Satoshi Nakamoto transaction to till now how much transaction we have done. So that we need to keep in a system. As a miner, we have to keep that in a system. So that is requiring more than 200 GB of data. So the miners will take that particular previous block and verifying all the transaction and adding the block into the previous block. For example, adding the block into the previous block. So this was happened. This is happening in the miner part. So next, anonymity means it is giving only the public key address. It is not showing your name, who is doing the transaction and all. Regarding the cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrencies in the world. So after that, many have created the coins like a Litecoin, Ripple, Mastercoin. So there are many coins are available. So each and every coins will have some different blockchain. So in cryptography, we have some symmetric key encryption and asymmetric key encryption. So if you take if you want to send a particular message to someone, what will happen in between? Encryption is happened. So encryption means the plain text will be changed to some other format. So your normal message will be transferred into some other format. That is called encryption. And decryption means the some other format. If you have changed it into some format, that will be again you can get it back the same message. That is called decryption. So if you want to do some kind of encryption and decryption, so from the sender to receiver, we are sharing the same key. The sender is having a key, the same key will be available to the receiver. So with that, they can open their messages easily. And then the key means here it is a password, something like a password. So they can open their password and then they can get their message. This is symmetric key. So in asymmetric key, we have some public key and then private key. So both the person will have public key and then private key. So with the help of public key, the sender will be sending the messages, and with the help of private key, that receiver will receive the particular message. So the private key only for receiving the message. So for sending, we can use public key. So this is the concept. So asymmetric key encryption is happening in blockchain. Here the miner is having some benefit. That means if you want to do some mining process, you will get some bitcoins as a reward. There may be more number of miners that are available in the network. So the one person can say that I will do the I will verify the transaction, or some other person will say that I will do the transaction. So there will be a clash. So how to avoid this clash? So in order to avoid that, each transaction will be modified into hash format. So in a particular block, we may have some different kind of transaction. So that entire transaction will be treated as a single hash, and this hash will be connected to the next block. So this next block, I mean the hash of the particular block will be continued in the next block. So this is the continuity we are having in the blockchain. So the previous block hash will be maintained in the present block. So through that only we can identify that this transaction have been continued from the previous block. So if the verification is not done, if the block is not having the previous hash, what will happen? It will be showing like a invalid transactions. So this is like so after doing the mining process, so the miners will be so many miners are there, so they have to mine the particular process. So for that, so they will create some puzzle to create some hashes with some particular values. So if they have created hashes with the particular values, so they will be treated. The first mined miner will be treated as a winner, and he will be receiving some bitcoins. So this is what happening here. So each and every block is having some different transactions list. So each transaction will be changed into hash values. So that means each transaction have some data like a name, and then their amount, and then sender receiver, and what is the timing, and everything will be there in the particular transaction. So that will be changed into a hash code. So we need to know that what is hashing at first. So the hashing is like, in hashing, so whatever the data you are providing as an input, that will be giving some particular digits of output. For example, in SHA 256 is a hashing algorithm. So if you are giving any data for entire, if you take entire Wikipedia data and then give it as an input, it will be giving 256 digit code. So that is called hashing. So and then the thing is, it will not be unique for all the inputs. So if you are changing a input in a small changes, for example, if you are changing some of the letter in the input, it will be changing the entire hash code. So and then the thing is, we cannot reverse back. We cannot reverse back the data from the hash code. So in a transaction, you are having some data like a sender, receiver, and then amount that will be changed into a hash code. That hash code will not be taken back, and the hash code will not be modified anywhere. And then we cannot produce particular hash code with a different input. We are giving different input with the help of, we cannot get the same output as a hash code. So that is the excellent feature of a hash code. So if it is happened, that is called a collision. So some of the algorithms like a MD5 algorithms, it was happened. The collision was occurred, so that is removed. So nowadays they are using SHA 256. So that is the thing about hashing. So in hashing, so the first hash, the hash values of the previous block will be maintained in the next block. So there should be some connectivity. So that is, the previous hash, the total transaction hash will be taken here, and that will be maintained in the next block. And the next block will be creating some hash value. That hash value will be maintained in the next block. So the first block, if you are having a first block, that block is called a genesis block. So in this genesis block, what is the previous hash? We have not created any hash value for the genesis block, because this is the first block. So we are not having any previous hash. So the previous hash will be treated as a 0. So this hash will be maintained into the next block, and the next this previous hash will be maintained in the next block. So by the way, it is getting connected, and the transactions are maintained. So this entire blockchain will be visible in the system. So nobody can tamper it. Once the transaction has been done, nobody can tamper it. So types of blockchain is like a public blockchain and then private blockchain. So the public blockchain is like a the entire person will be, each and everything will be visible to all the person. So whatever the changes we made, that will be visible to all the person. So anyone can join without permission, and then everyone can run the node. Node means it is a device. So everyone can run the node, and everyone can access to audit, review, whatever it is. So the process will be slow because more transaction will be involved in a public blockchain, and then they can download the code. So the entire blockchain will be downloaded in a particular local devices, and they can keep for verification. So next, private blockchain is it is needs some permission with proof. So that means for a particular organization, they want to maintain some blockchain. So the higher level management will be taking care of that. So they are having some full permission. Some others will not have a full permission. So in that case, they can maintain the blockchain. So here they cannot audit the blockchain, can't make the transaction. So this is what happening. So some of the thing we have some hybrid blockchain also. So with the help of a public blockchain and private blockchain, we may have some collaboratively we can have some hybrid blockchain also. And then we have some proof of work. So that is proof of work. I already told you that this is about the miners. So more number of miners are trying to solve the particular transaction. So they will get a Bitcoin as a reward. So in this case, all the miners are trying to solve the problem. So in that case, they will give some puzzle. So that puzzle will be taken as a competition. So who is solving the particular puzzle, that will be treated as a winner. So here, in order to solve the puzzle, they need some high energy consumption. So hardware is required. By a huge amount of hardware is required to solve the particular puzzle problems. So the miner is, so if they are getting some 6.25 bitcoins, so they are making, they are having some persons to do all these works. So they will give some salary. So the 6.25 bitcoins will be divided among themselves. So that is proof of work. That means in proof of work, the computational resources will be the main part. The proof of stack means it is the person is having more amount, I mean more bitcoins in their account. So if he is doing any kind of a transaction, that will be taken as a valid transaction. So if he is doing any fault transaction, that will be treated as a wrong one. So that is proof of stake. Application of blockchains. So we can use the blockchain in payment processing, like a bitcoins. So in bitcoins or money transfer, send it directly without any third party. So next one is monitor supply chains. So if you are applying this blockchain into the supply chain management, so all the data are sharing to all the systems, right? So here we can easily monitor what has happened, who has done the defecting. Everything we can monitor through the monitor with the help of the blockchain technologies. So next one is digital voting. So in digital voting, if you are doing some voting through the internet, so you know need to go to a particular polling booth and do the voting. So we can do the voting in the online itself. So each and every vote will be taken as a transaction, like a transaction, and it will be registered there, and everybody will approve that. So if it is approving that, what will happen? It cannot be tamper proof. So once your vote has been registered, that will not be tamper proof. So each and every person know that who has given the vote, and everything is known to everybody. So next one is if you take a real estate, so we can, if you are registered, if you are applying with this blockchain, what will happen? What is the previous owner, from the previous owner to the next owner. So that if you are registering that as a transaction in the blockchain, so that will be maintained. Nobody can change it. Nobody can cheat you. So you can give the information about the land also, whether it is a DTCP approved or a Panchayat approved, whatever it is, you can give it in the details. So that will be maintained in the blockchain. Nobody can cheat you to buy the land or whatever it is. So next one is food safety. So the food is proportion they applied for the food, and everything we can visible through any kind of IoT, help of IoT devices. We can watch what is happening at the at the particular hotel, or can maintain. And then we can keep the medical records. So in the medical record also, we can easily maintain our medical records. So once it is registered, the doctor can easily track what is happening and everything. Blockchain can be applied in the Internet of Things also. So through the Internet of Things, so whatever happening all over the world, we can watch through the Internet of Things like devices. So in that, each and everything can be recorded, and if it is registered in the blockchain, so nobody can tell that this is wrong or whatever it is. So the blockchain, the application, that is giving more and more security than any other. So even though the Bitcoin is suffering a lot, but the blockchain is not suffering at all. So these are all the applications. So we then the benefits of blockchain, and then the unknown. For example, so in blockchain, it is giving some increased transparency. I already told you that, and then accurate tracking. So when you want to track anything like a supply chain management, it is easily you can do. And then it is a permanent ledger. So it will not be destroyed by any circumstances. Nobody can tamper it. So the permanent ledger, this will be taken as a permanent ledger. And then cost reduction. So in Bitcoin, if you want to do any kind of transaction, there is no such a transaction fees. So in a bank and all, we are having some transaction fees, but in here we are not having a transaction fees. But in some cases, they are having, the miner will ask for some few transaction fees. So the cost reduction is there. If you take about the unknowns, it is just somewhat for the beginners. It is taking it to a complex technology. For a beginner, they can understand very slowly only. So it is taken as a complex technology. And then for a regularity implication, so it is having some different concepts and methods. So the government is then implement all these things in our thing. For Bitcoin, uh, the case is going on, and some days the Bitcoin is allowed, and Bitcoin ATM has been implemented in India also. So some of the things are going. So the blockchain, they cannot stop anything for a blockchain in Bitcoin blockchain. So some of the regulatory problems for a country is happening, and then implementation challenges. If we are always we are believing on the trusted third party or a cloud server or whatever it is. So if you want to change the entire thing into our blockchain environment, that is having some implementation changes. We are doing the transaction through the bank. So suddenly we want to move to the blockchain environment without any third party. That is the challenges which are happening in the blockchain environment. And then so most of the competing platforms also there in the blockchain environment. So with this, I just conclude my thing. So if anyone want to ask any queries, you can ask.
There are a couple of questions asked by the participants.
Okay.
One of the questions is, why Bitcoin is more valuable coin like other coin?
I already told you that this blockchain is a concept involved in Bitcoins. So once if it is registered as a transaction, that will not be tampered. So if you are doing any kind, if you are doing a transaction with the normal currency, so what will happen? That can be modified. So but in Bitcoins, once it is registered, so that will not at all modified. So nobody can cheat you. Nobody can that I have not done this. So no modification is there. So that is the thing. Bitcoin is more better than other digital currencies. Also, we have some issues. So that is not in the blockchain. So the Bitcoin in the Bitcoin, somebody is telling that I will provide the Bitcoins as if you are giving this money. I will provide this Bitcoin, something like that. Some of the cheating, malicious websites will be there, and if you are trying to get the Bitcoins from there, they will be cheating you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Another question is Bitcoin transactions are safe?
Yeah, yes. I mean, the transaction is safe for a blockchain. If you're considering the blockchain, that is very safe. But in some other circumstances, like if you are registering so there are more number of Bitcoin wallets are there in a different websites. So if you are choosing any wrong website, malicious website, so there you are registering. So they will provide you the same environment like a Bitcoin environment. So you are registering in that, you are making some activities there. So what will happen, that will be, they will get all your information. And then here in Bitcoins, you will be very safe if you are keeping your private key very safe. If you are if your private key, you are saving your private key in your desktop or else in the network. So what will happen? Anybody can hack and get your private key. So if they are getting your private key, they can do your transaction as you. So we have to keep our private key very safe. So for that, we have some different kind of wallet also. So that is like a hardware wallet. Hardware wallet means the wallet, I mean the private key will be maintained as a separate one. And then some of the person is keeping their private key in a notebook. So whenever they want, they will just take that and then using in the system. So we should not keep our private key in our system.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Now
Okay.
I request Dr. A. Krishna Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of MCA, to deliver water.
I would like to thank Mr. Vivek Anand for his webinar on blockchain with IoT. We acquired a lot of inputs on blockchain, site cryptocurrencies, and IoT. Next, I would like to extend my thanks to our convener, Dr. A. Saravanan, Director of Computer Science, and Organizing Secretary, Dr. R. Gunavadi, Head MCA, for arranging such an enlightening webinar. Finally, it is my pleasure to thank the participants, and I hope they have found their time useful. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Krishna Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.